We'll be talking to David Tredinnick MP, Conservative for Bosworth, part of the Health Select Committee, who thinks that the reforms are coming fast, but they are unavoidable. That doesn't deal, and I'm not anticipating our discussion, with the rather inconvenient fact that there was nothing in the Conservative Party manifesto that told us that these radical right-wing reforms to the health service were going to be implemented. There was even less than nothing in the coalition agreement with the Liberal Democrats, because it, in fact, ruled out precisely what is now happening with the publication this week of new legislation to radically change the health service. So a lack of a mandate is just one of the problems that the Tories and their Liberal Democrat fig leaves have with this policy. I'll be teasing that out, I hope, with David later. Tell me what you think about the health service reforms. Here's what I think about them. They are the final assault on the public character and national character of the NHS. If these reforms, which were unveiled this week, go through, there will be no public health service 5 years from now, and it will not even be a national service. Because amidst all that guff from David Tredinnick about choice and GPs are the following salient facts. Number one, the vast majority of GPs want to continue being GPs. Thank you very much. They don't want to become the managers and administrators of a giant national health service. So, secondly, what they're going to do is they're going to contract those management and administrative tasks out, and they're going to contract them out to private companies. Thirdly, the legislation forces the health service to open its services to competition from the private sector. They must be allowed to directly, competitively tender for the work that the NHS would otherwise itself be doing. This is not new, of course. The Thatcher Major government did exactly that. My early years in Parliament, from 1987 onwards, were completely consumed by opposition to precisely that. GP fund holders, competitive tendering. That's what happened, for example, to the cleaning services in hospital. The cleaning services, before the Tories came in 1979, were an integrated part of the NHS and a respected part of the NHS. After the Tory reforms under Mrs. Thatcher, these services had to be competitively tendered for. And of course, the person with the lowest bid got the gig. And the way to get your price underneath the others bidding for the gig was to cut the corners on quality, on wages for the staff, on conditions for the staff, even right down to the strength of the disinfectant in the bucket. And that's what led to the record levels of MRSA and superbugs and all the rest. That's just one example of what privatisation in the NHS has meant up till now. But believe me, and it was quite a revealing slip from Mr. Tredinnick, Tory MP, member of the Health Select Committee. He said this was philosophical. He was being honest at that moment. It is philosophical. It's the philosophy that knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. It's the philosophy that reduces all human relations to the cash nexus. It's the philosophy that believes that this gigantic field, 1/3 of our national budget, Mr. Tredinnick said, that is as yet relatively uninfluenced by, and certainly largely unprofited on, by the private sector. Tens of thousands of people will lose their jobs. There will be no national character to the NHS, and the public nature of the NHS will be increasingly a thing of the past. If that's what you want from your National Health Service, you'll be backing the Tory plans. the plans they never told us about in the general election campaign, the plans they specifically ruled out in their coalition agreement with the Liberal Democrats. It's a Tory policy. Mr. Tredinnick was quite clear about that. But it can only be implemented if the Liberal Democrats vote for it. And vote for it they will. And pay for that, I believe, that they sincerely will.